Buenos dias, internet bikers. Welcome to Royal Enfield Madrid, and I'm here because today I'm gonna take out the Super Meteor 650 and I'm gonna take it for the weekend. So I'm gonna have a few days with it. Well, maybe just 2 or 3 days with it. But this is the Celeste one. I mean, I think that's the name of it in Spanish. It's basically the one that has all the specs for longer travel, right? It has the windshield, it has the passenger backrest, it has the improved seating. So a lot of interesting features that you don't have in the original one, and or in the base model. And yeah, let's go. This is gonna be a first impression video right now over here. First off, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna compare this bike to the bike. Hasta luego. Yeah. I'm gonna compare this bike to my Yamaha Midnight Star 950 because it's what I have, and it's because I think that's the closest thing to this one in power, in weight, in a lot of things. The reason, whoa, yeah, it's nice. It doesn't vibrate at all. Okay, that's the first thing I'm noticing right now. This thing does not vibrate. I have no vibration here. It just doesn't vibrate. And another thing that I just felt, yeah, it has a very limited cornering angle. Yeah, let's see. I mean, it could do better, honestly. It could do better, but the part about look, this guy just bought a Hunter 350. Well done. That's amazing, because that's what we want. Bye. We want people on bikes. Oh wow, almost happened to me again. I completely missed the foot positions. I had no idea where the foot controls were. This is forward controls, and clearly not what I was expecting, simply because it's so high up, right? So when you're this high up, you expect it to be mid controls, because this is much higher than any typical cruiser motorcycle. The seat height is I think it's 750 millimeters, whereas standard cruiser motorcycles are usually 690 or 7. So basically this is a couple inches taller. The seat height is a couple inches taller, and it's noticeable. So it has a very strange position. I mean, it doesn't feel like a cruiser when you're standing still. Right now the position is more like a standard bike. I completely lose the feeling of a cruiser, because instead of laying back and putting my feet on the ground, I kind of balance the bike on the balls of my feet. That is completely different to what I would expect in a cruiser motorcycle. So yeah. Okay. The setup here is pretty classic, one of the most classic bike setups. I mean, this makes me remember my dad's old Oldsmobile, right, from the 80s. That's what it looks like to me. And but it has the tripper, and the tripper's a nice gizmo that I haven't tried, because I've never had a Royal Enfield with tripper. So it's something that I'm gonna have to check, figure it out. Mirrors seem to be well placed, and they don't move as much as they do on the Hunter 350 or the Meteor. So I'm guessing they are better quality, right? Oh, this is a very strange seating position. I feel like I'm on a standard bike, but with my feet forward. It's very, very strange. So I don't completely have the cruiser feeling here. It's very different. And it's high up. I mean, when you're riding a cruiser, you expect a low seat height. You don't have and of course the low seat height visibility. That's not what I'm getting here. So it's not a bad thing. It just makes it a little bit of a quirky bike, right? It has its own thing going. I like the sound. I mean, I'm surprised that it vibrates, that there's no vibration. I'm gonna mark that as a good thing, because it just feels so stable. I know many people love the vibration. It's a matter of taste, right? I think vibrating or not vibrating is not something that makes a bike be better or worse. It's just something that makes it more to your liking or not. Like if it's a tall or a short bike, or if it's a, I don't know, black or white bike. It's one of those things. All right, what else can I say? It says that it can go up to 120 miles per hour or 200, at least it does on the dash. I highly doubt it, due to the motor being only 47 horsepower, because it's for the A2 license in Europe. So that's something that I won't be able to check though, because it only has 233 kilometers, meaning that I can't push it. I mean, it's still in breaking. It's still being broken in. So that's something that it's kind of a buzzkill, because I'd like to test it, but like its power. But never mind. It's not a deal breaker. I mean, it's a free bike for a weekend. What can you say? I'll treat it nicely. In any case, this is not the type of bike that you want to power wheelie or do anything like that on. It's just a cruising bike. So let's see how it cruises. That's the whole point of the weekend. I'm gonna do a medium distance ride tomorrow. I'm gonna ride with my wife and another couple. They're gonna take my Yamaha, and we're gonna take this one. My wife and I are gonna take this one, and we'll compare it. And yeah, hopefully we'll have some good content out of that. This right now is just the first ride, and I'm telling you right now that I don't feel like I'm riding a cruiser. I've been riding cruisers most of my life. I have the Hunter, so I've also been riding standard bikes. I have my Tiger, so I've also ridden adventure bikes. This doesn't feel like anything else. It doesn't feel like a cruiser. It doesn't feel like a standard or naked bike. It feels very weird. It's not a bad thing. I mean, it's just something that you need to get used to. This is not the typical cruiser bike where you feel like you're in the motorcycle. I mean, that's one of the things that many people have always commented about cruisers, how amazing it is that you feel like you're protected, like in a cocoon inside the motorcycle. This one doesn't give me that feeling. It feels very buttoned down, of course, so it's a nice secure feeling. That's what it gives me. It makes me feel safe, for sure. I feel like I have more than enough power for moving around the city, even though clearly we are not gonna buy a Super Meteor to commute or to move around the city, but at least for what I'm doing right now, it feels pretty good. We're gonna take the highway a little bit, and then I'm gonna veer off to some windy roads, just check it out. So for the time being, I think my initial thoughts are, this feels very nice. It feels like a quality motorcycle. It feels safe. It feels good, but it doesn't necessarily feel like a cruiser, at least not to me. And we'll talk about this a little bit more when I have more miles on it. Okay, so one interesting thing that I'm noticing is that there's a lot of vibration coming from the handlebars when we're doing highway speed. Another interesting thing that I'm noticing is that when we're doing 120, which is the maximum allowed here, I mean that's the speed limit, 120 kilometers per hour, the dash still says that I'm doing eco. Eco means that I'm not really accelerating too much, and that I am making light use of the engine, right? That I'm not pushing it, basically. So interesting. That means that, okay, maybe it's not going to get to 200 miles per hour, but it might be able to get to some very interesting speeds if we were so inclined to test it, which is not going to happen this weekend with me. All right, so I'm doing some twisties now, and over here you can tell that this is not your typical cruiser. This thing corners so much better than a typical cruiser, because it's not, right? Because it's not that long, because the seating position is much higher, because of I don't know how many different configurations it has, but it definitely makes me feel like I'm going through this twisty area, which I know because I've been through it a lot, many times before. It makes me feel like I'm going so much quicker than with my my Yamaha, right, with my V-Star. So that makes it very different, right? And I think for first impressions, it's probably good enough now. Yeah, this is so much better at cornering. I mean, damn, wow, this is really cool. I can't do this with my V-Star, at least not the way that I just did it here. Yeah, okay. So trade-offs, right? You don't have the typical cruiser sitting position, you don't have the typical cruiser wheel length and all of that, but you have a much more agile bike. So I don't know, I mean, this is just something that I'm figuring out. There's a lot more things that we need to discuss as a first impression, so I'll find somewhere to stop and we'll wrap this up. Okay, so we've had some fun riding it. It looks pretty cool. I mean, first thing that I need to say is this is a great looking motorcycle, but yeah, you can tell that it's the wheelbase is a lot shorter than you would expect in a typical cruiser. The seat height is taller, as I was saying, so I'm thinking this is kind of like a tall boy seat, right? It's not necessarily that. I know that's not the standard seat, so maybe the standard seat might make it feel a little bit more of a cruiser bike, but I still know that in the spec sheets the standard seat position is 750 millimeters, which is still tall, right? It's taller than you would expect for a cruiser. In fact, the Triumph Street Twin 900, I think that's what it's called, that one is 760 millimeters, and that's a neo retro. That's like a modern classic looking motorcycle. So this is much closer to a Bonneville type of motorcycle, or of course Interceptor, than it is to the classic cruisers that we all know from Japanese brands and of course from Harley and Indian. So that makes it different. It doesn't make it any better or any worse. It's just, you know, things to keep in mind when you're trying to make a decision on what to buy. For the time being, I think that the main positive side of the configuration is that this bike is a lot more nimble in the corners than any of your typical cruisers. So it depends on what you want. I mean, if you want to just go in a straight line and you know, keep going on until the sun sets, you know, maybe this is not the best choice. But if you want to do a little bit more of twists and turns, and you think that your typical metric cruiser or even Sportster or Scout is a little bit too, you know, difficult to wiggle around, then this is probably what you need if you still want to ride with the cruiser style. So yeah, I think that's my main takeaway right now from the first impression ride that I just did. I think I rode for an hour, more or less. But of course, I will have it for the rest of the weekend, and I will do a 2-up comparison, because we're going to ride 2-up, this one and my other cruiser. But for the time being, that's it. And Let me know your comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Hasta luego.